This week we're off yet again to sunny Italy. It's time for some Toscana and a meeting with the mysterious Morellino. Coming right up. Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Big on Wine, the show that, as you know, brings you news, clues and reviews about just everything in the world of wine. And my wine of the week for this week is a very interesting one. It's an organic wine and it's this one here. It's Valdifalco Morellino di Scansano and the vintage is 2015. Now this wine is indeed from Tuscany, Toscana, and comes in for around about €16 where I am. It's produced by a big Italian company, DOCG, famous of course, or the name is normally associated with chocolates and wafers. It's a North Italian company from Südtirol. So there is our manufacturer and this is the wine. Now this has got 13.5% alcohol and a couple of grams of residual sugar per litre in the wine as well. Okay, officially the wine is DOCG Morellino di Scansano, and I can tell you that Scansano is a very, very small place in southern Tuscany, roughly 100 kilometers or so south of the famous old university town of Siena. All right, the mystery of the Morellino is not such a big mystery after all. The Morellino grape, in fact, is another name for the Sangiovese, which of course is the great grape of Tuscany and Chianti. And Morellino literally means little dark one. Now this wine is not 100% Morellino. It's actually a blend of 3 red varieties. So we have the local Morellino or Sangiovese here blended with Cabernet Sauvignon and with Syrah. Now this wine has a lot of character and a lot to offer at a reasonably budget price of just over €16 a bottle where I am. Okay, as we can see in the glass, it has a very kind of ruby red colour, just breaking slightly around the rim of the glass there to, what would we call it, a little bit of parchment brown perhaps there. It's relatively translucent, very attractive in colour, very rich, dense in colour, but still translucent there. Very nice indeed. Okay, let's check it out in the nose. Okay, now in the nose, I'm getting, first impressions actually are of some toastiness here. Ripe fruit, ripe berries, red and black berries in fact. How would we categorize that aroma? Sour cherry, I think, is probably the closest I can get immediately. So a kind of cherry, sour cherry, maybe even a touch of leather in the nose as well there. Quite interesting. Fruitiness comes through. So ripe berries, particularly that sour cherry aroma in the nose. All right, let's try it in the mouth. Let's see what we get. I'm looking forward to this one. Okay, first of all, tannins. Very clearly present. They get the mouth puckering nicely, but they are not too heavy. So I don't know how we should describe it. Let's call it distinct or prominent tannins, but relatively mild, relatively mellow in terms of their nature. Mellow tannins. Okay, let's see what else we can get in this wine. sour cherry. And now in the back of the mouth, I'm getting blackberries, mature blackberry. So sour cherry, mature blackberry. That touch of leather is still there in the mouth. A certain spiciness. Now, if I had to compare it to something, I would say it's rather like the dried fruit and spice you might get in a good old-fashioned English Christmas cake. Medium to full-bodied wine. Prominent but mellow tannins. A touch of herby. It's almost got a kind of a earthy, farmyard, in a good sense, flavour to this wine. So very kind of natural, appealing, warm. Yeah, it has that kind of, you know, like going into a warm cowshed almost, that generates that kind of feeling in the mouth. Okay, so what we're dealing with here is a very high quality, multi-dimensional organic wine, which comes in at a very good price. A blend of 3 varieties, one of them local, the Morellino or Sangiovese, accompanied by the Cabernet Sauvignon and the Syrah. Now, what's this going to be good with? Well, you know, I think this is going to be absolutely perfect with aromatic dark meats, so red meat, game. I'm thinking lamb or venison for preference, but salty cheeses would also do extremely well with this wine. Chianti, we normally serve a little cool around the 14, 15 degree mark. I would say this is deserving of a couple of degrees more. I would be serving this around what, the 16, 17 degree mark myself. An interesting organic wine with a great deal to offer. Good tannins, mellow tannins, wonderful ripe berries, toastiness, and that distinct country kind of style to it. Very, very appealing indeed. Heads up on this one. Valdifalco Morellino di Scansano, vintage 2015. I'm going to give it 5 stars out of 5. Okay guys, many thanks for taking the time to follow this week's video and the little introduction to an interesting organic wine from the southern Tuscan hills of Italy, Valdifalco Morellino di Scansano, vintage 2015. Lovely stuff. If you've enjoyed what you've seen and heard, then please do feel free to give us that big thumbs up. We appreciate it so much. Drop a comment down below, share the video around, follow me on my other social media platforms, and of course, if you haven't done so already, very remiss of you if you haven't, you can always subscribe by hitting that big red button up there behind me. I'll be back again next week with another great wine of the week for you, but until we meet again, this is Tony Melville signing off and saying, hey, take care out there. Be good to each other. Enjoy your wines. And cheers.